Yeah.
I think if we know anything about Greg Bird, it would have been that he would have been the team man, making sure he was fully joined in.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Um, right, okay. Do you want to take us through the Super League standings? God, we've
Yeah,
done an hour on 4 games nearly.
and we've still got the best one of the week to come. With 4 games to go and a 6 point gap back to fifth place Huddersfield, the top four is almost set. Warrington are now the only side that are catchable for Huddersfield, with points difference meaning Castleford are out of reach realistically. St Helens stay top six, 6 points clear of Wigan, who stay 3 points ahead of Cass. Wakefield sit in sixth, Hull FC seventh, and Catalan eighth, and so it shall remain.
And I think the game you were talking about is the game we're going to kick off the qualifiers round 3 recap with. Average attendance across the qualifiers 6,123. So we're still seeing an interest at that level with the desire to watch people's heads get chopped off.
Well, they've got that lovely new stadium to come and admire. They're probably just going to go for a look around.
It's getting nicer by the week, isn't it? Actually, to be fair.
It did look nice on TV.
The championship. No, I jest. This was a fantastic end-to-end game between the Leeds Rhinos and the Hull Kingston Rovers side. It was 22-16 to the hosts, Leeds at half-time. That was turned around and then fallen apart and then turned around again to end up with 38 points to 36 for the visiting Hull Kingston Rovers. 11,468. Ben Thaler was the referee. Before we get your glowing report of this game, let's take it through some of the listener views. Do you want to start with big Leeds fan Rich Wilkinson?
Yeah, Rich Wilkinson, all he has to say is disgraceful! Exclamation mark.
Okay, Carson said, thanks to Sky, I missed the middle of the game. Yeah, the signal was a bit sketchy for a while there, but a strong start by the Rovers saw a good return of Danny Maguire, but Leeds did these Leeds things and managed to stay into the game even go in front sometimes. It wasn't enough in the end, which wasn't a surprise if you keep in mind that Jimmy Kay didn't play.
There we go. Fatboy Rob said, I only listened on the wireless, but this has put me in a very good mood. Hashtag Sinfield in.
Dr. Bob Phillips said, nobbing knobs, bloody hell, Rovers won. There were insufficient hauls and a deficiency of ablets in this game, soddity sod.
Yeah, and finally, not finally, in fact, Brian Davies said, great bit of fun on a Saturday afternoon with the score chopping and changing so often, but what shocking defence from both sides. Not hard to see why they're in the bottom four. Great win for KR, and that should probably see them safe with their games to come. Having Maguire back, plus their deadline day signings, seem to have made all the difference. Leeds, though, are they sleepwalking into the £1 million game as too good to go down?
We'll cover that question in a second, actually. But Tom Andrews, at Tom_HKR, said, piece of piss, who's next? P.S. Maguire dropped that ball on purpose. Yeah, Danny Maguire.
Definitely we knew what he was doing there.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it was close enough to the final hooter, wasn't it? That
he couldn't do it to himself.
Yeah.
He just couldn't do it.
No,
he just bottled it.
I agree. But Brian's question, do you think Leeds are sleepwalking into the £1 million game?
It's interesting. I was having this conversation with a Leeds fan on Saturday night who said, no, I think it's fine. It'll all be fine. They've still got Halifax to play and whatever, but
and they finish with Toronto at home, don't they?
Yeah. Well, that's not going to be that could well be a rehearsal for the £1 million game. We could end up with the same game 2 weeks running.
I don't see it. I know Leeds haven't got a great record at Widnes, but we'll predict that game later on. But I'm going to be predicting the Leeds win. I'm pretty certain. Spoiler alert. But anyway, yeah, this was a great game to watch. From a neutral perspective, I had a lot of fun watching this game. I didn't watch it on Saturday afternoon. I watched it on Sunday morning, but I didn't know what the score was. I'd avoided all the results until I watched the games on Sunday morning. I'm not sure. Well, I am sure how I did that. I was drunk, so I just didn't turn mobile internet on my phone on when I was out, and then didn't look at my phone when I got home. It was quite easy to be drunk and oblivious. But yeah, great stuff to watch from the neutral perspective. I think we've seen these sorts of games consistently, particularly in the Super 8s this year. We're going to talk about another one in just a minute in the qualifiers this year. But we've seen these games kind of consistently through the period. You kind of get a people who aren't defending at the highest of intensities but have enough ability to score some points.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we saw. We saw some cracking tries as well.
Definitely, and the poke from the Craig Hall in that, was it his first or second? Where he just absolutely nicked it and ran off with it.
That was his first try. The Adam Quinlan try was the one and the Rob Mulhern try. Those two tries were the ones that stood out for me as the real class touches. Craig Hall looks like he belongs, doesn't he, in red and white?
He's back. He's slotted in like he's never been away.
No, and he seems like he already seems to have the closest link to the supporters of any of the players as well. It feels like.
I mean, as I said before, he's one of my favourite players that's played for Rovers in my time of watching. So I had a massive soft spot for him. And even when he was at Toronto, I kind of was keeping an eye out for him there because I do like just seeing him back in the shirt, and especially the special shirt we're wearing at the moment in the Super 8s. If you've not seen the story behind it, do go and check that out. It was on Sky this week.
The Little Respect.
Yeah. So
what's the story behind that?
So it's raising money for the Terence Higgins Trust. Basically tells the story of the singer of Erasure, and in fact he's HIV positive, and just trying to bust the stigma around and the myths around that. And but it's it's a cracking shirt and very much a terrace anthem, more importantly.
Fully endorse that. The game was littered with high quality tries, but it was decided by shitty defending really for the junior.
It was. I mean, yeah.
Great effort from him, but come on.
Both sides' defensive coaches will be having a lot to study on the video this week, because it was not a classic in that respect, but it did make it more entertaining in some respects that both sides were going for it, and because both sides have got that attacking ability, they were able to match each other there, which is what made it quite so entertaining. But yeah, the Vibe steal at the end was good, and one things that sort of, I mean, the Mulhern try, the sort of breakout nature of it, and just that rolling constant sort of flutter, that really did well for me.
Players popping up from everywhere on that try as well was great, I thought.
Yeah, and it's just the option runners as well did well to keep into the pace of the whole move. And who did? I've written when Sutcliffe got his break and he was then chased down. That was and then allowed that space then for Myler, didn't it? So in the Myler try, where because they'd all committed into chase after Sutcliffe, that just laid that space up. So they was focused on the one result. But to be fair, it was a fantastic chase to get there, and the Briscoe try as well in the second half, that was particularly poor defence as well.
Yeah, well, there was some good interplay by Leeds for some of the tries. And Richie Myler, he might not be a title-winning player, but he is a classy player with a lot of skill and vision.
He's a Super League player, isn't he? Yeah. He's not a Championship player.
No, but I mean, he's not a champion. He's not a title-winning player either, though, is he? He's not going to drive them towards the very pinnacle. But he is going to do some good stuff when he's got ball in hand. Okay.
Let's take another positive for Leeds. Nathaniel Petru getting a try. That's an event in itself.
Well, and he's not injured again. So he's played a few games in a row now. Right, we had some stats on this one. That's another positive, because the qualifiers games have been bereft of stats this year, which is not what we've been accustomed to. But Craig Hall, 3 tries. 127 metres, 2 clean breaks. Ben Crooks, a try assist and 118 metres. Justin Carney, who talk is he will not be with Hull KR next year. 5 tackles, 140 metres for him. I didn't know they were allowing him back in Australia. He's got
the haircut ready, isn't he?
For the losing Leeds side, Tom Briscoe, 2 tries, 1 try assist, 11 tackle busts and 2 successful offloads. Liam Sutcliffe, 112 metres. Stevie Ward, 1 try assist and 107 metres. And I thought that was really nice play by him with the switch back on the inside from Briscoe. So yeah, there we go. Okay, into the Toulouse versus Widnes game. I mean, I've not seen any of this game. I'm going to level with people, but it is a crucial result. 2,911 were there. Robert Hicks flew out to France to referee this one. Toulouse were ahead at half-time 18-10. They managed to drive home that advantage, finishing up 42 points to 22, winners over the beleaguered Widnes Vikings. Take us through some reviews.
Yeah, so it starts with Brian Davies, and he says that he followed this one on Twitter. Toulouse scored first before 2 tries from Widnes, saw them lead midway through the first half. Toulouse then edged back in front before half-time, and then Widnes replied straight after. Toulouse then got a grip on the game, finally opened up a decent gap to secure a great victory. This should condemn Widnes to the championship. They have Leeds and Fax at home, and Toronto and KR away. They won't get 6 points out of them.
I agree. Paul Chamberlain said, I can only quote the saviour of our sport, Dr. Kook Ass. What he recently tweeted. When he recently tweeted, the Challenge Cup on Saturday will show that overseas clubs bring nothing to our RL game. Money is better invested in the lower divisions instead of clubs that are in France. Yep, it was bollocks then, and it's still bollocks now, Paul. I completely agree.
Yeah, piss off, Cockcrash. POB 1976 said, another game, another defeat, only not bottom due to Halifax conceding more points.
Yeah, it's woeful for Widnes. But I fully expected this sort of outcome. I expected a quite high-scoring game, and I expected Toulouse to be the higher scoring of the two. I just didn't see Widnes coping with the variety of attack that Toulouse can throw up, even if their defence isn't always the strongest. Widnes haven't been creating anything to challenge defences, so Toulouse were going to be in the right area of the pitch more often than not, and they made that pay.
Yeah, and Toulouse just are, as you said, they've got that attacking flair that they can punish a defence that's not ticking. And Widnes, they aren't even there, yet alone ticking.
Yeah, well, it's that spine is very creative. Mark Corella, Jonathan Ford, Stan Robin, Anthony Marion is, got a chance for France, and William Bartow comes off the bench and I think William Bartow's good enough to play in Super League. So, and he's coming off the bench. That's where we're at with this side. It's just a talented side. There, Paul Seguier went on loan there, didn't he, as well, from the Catalan Dragons. So that gives them a bit more bite in that pack with Joe Breverton, who's in there as well. I just think they've kind of got it right. Other than defensively, I worry if they had to step up, they'd need to do a lot of work there, and they'd probably have to change quite a bit around maybe in their 3/4 line to strengthen that. They've got some talented players in there, but whether those players can resist the attacks of oppositions, I'm not necessarily sure. But they're exciting, and I'm all for it. Vive l'Olympique.
That could be. Imagine the Derby game if they did make it into Super League. That'd be quite something, wouldn't it?
Well, we get told off for saying it's a derby game because the two places.
That's exactly why I said it.
Nowhere near each other, but let's face it, the coaches and the French TV people are referring to it as a potential derby game. Let's stick with that. Okay.
Let's jump on the bus, as it were.
Toronto 34, London 22, 7,507. Fake people were there apparently.
They were all just inflatables.
Yeah, Scott Mikalauskas was the referee. I'm sure the amount of people enjoying the beer tokens. This game looked empty at the start. I will say that it was a very early kickoff. It was like a lunchtime kickoff, weren't it? But by the end of the game, the stands looked pretty full to me, and I'm sure a lot of people stuck around to get a few beers because last time London were in town, their players embraced the beer garden afterwards, and I'm sure they did again this time around. Interesting game really, because it finished 34-22, but it was 20-0 to Toronto at half-time, so it would have been felt like it was won. Let's see what the listeners had to say about that, Tim.
Yeah, so it started off with London fan Dr. Hideous, who said, just like the game against Leeds, London had an awful start and an awesome comeback, only after we were too far behind. With only 7 games in the qualifiers, we can't afford any more of this.
Well, yeah, it's two games in a row, isn't it, really, that they've done that. I only started to play once the game was gone. Genghis Campbell said, I may have tried to submit this already because of the shitty Marriott Wi-Fi. However, I strongly recommend not trying the cider whiskey combo before the game starts. As far as I can remember, Wallace opened the scoring and O'Brien was kicking conversions like a boss. Why isn't Braley playing? There was also